You keep attracting the same type of person, someone with so much potential who needs a little help. And somehow you always end up exhausted, doing all the emotional heavy lifting while they stay exactly the same. If you're tired of being the unpaid therapist in your relationships, there are 5 psychological triggers running this pattern on autopilot. And here's the thing. You can't fix what you can't see. I'm about to show you what's actually been running in the background of your romantic life. Fair warning, this is going to sting. But stick with me because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this keeps happening and what to do about it. So you're competent and you solve problems. You're the person that people come to when things fall apart. And that's a beautiful quality. But in your relationships, it's killing you. You meet someone and immediately spot their potential. You see the person they become and you think, I can help you get there. But 6 months later, you're drained and they are still the same mess. You're left wondering why you're the only one trying. You've probably been told you have a savior complex and that you're just attracted to broken people. But that's surface level psychology and it's not helpful. The truth is more structural. There are specific triggers embedded so deep in your blueprint that you don't even see them operating. And these triggers are the reason you keep ending up in the same exhausting dynamic. This isn't about blaming you. You're not broken. But we need to run a diagnostic on what's actually happening because awareness is the only way out. So let's expose these 5 triggers, starting with the sneakiest one. So the first trigger disguises itself as one of your strengths, which is vision. You can spot potential everywhere. In your projects, in ideas, in people. It's a valuable skill. But in dating, it becomes a trap. You meet someone who's struggling, but they're between jobs, recovering from a breakup, or just can't seem to get their life together. Instead of seeing who they are right now, you see who they could become. Your brain lights up with possibility. This is the savior complex in action. And it's not just about being nice. In psychology, savior complex is a pattern where your self-worth gets tangled up in fixing others. It becomes compulsive. You're drawn to vulnerability not as a point of connection, but as a project to manage. And here's what happens. You immediately create a parent-child dynamic. You become the coach, the therapist, the manager, and they become the perpetual project. The relationship success depends entirely on your effort and your patience and your generosity. But the brutal part is that after you've poured all that energy into fixing them, one of 2 things usually happens. Either they leave you for someone else now that they've somewhat improved, or they resent you for the very help that you gave them. The problem isn't that you see potential in others. The problem is you're trying to date potential. A partner needs to be emotionally mature when you meet them, not perfect mature, but they should have already done the foundational work on themselves. You're looking for a partner, not a renovation project. Because here's the truth that you do need to hear. You cannot renovate a person into the partner you want. If you've ever felt like the only adult in your relationship, drop a comment below. I need to know this is landing with you. So here's a question for you. Does a calm, stable relationship often feel boring to you? Do you sometimes mistake drama for passion? Do you confuse anxiety with chemistry? And if you're nodding at all right now, you're dealing with trigger number 2. It's the familiarity of chaos. And for many of us, especially if we grew up in emotionally unpredictable environments, our blueprints get wired for this type of chaos. And it doesn't require major trauma. It can be as subtle as having a parent who was warm one day and maybe cold the next. Your brain learned that connection was inconsistent. and it adapted. Your internal circuitry started seeking out what was familiar, even when it was unhealthy. So a relationship that cycles between intense highs and crushing lows, that feels like a powerful bond to you because it mimics those early experiences. And psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. Think of it like a slot machine. You don't win every time, but that unpredictable chance of payout keeps you pulling that lever. In dating, this looks like someone who runs hot and cold. They love bomb you with affection and then they just disappear. You're left anxious and desperate for that next hit of validation. And when they finally throw you a crumb of attention, your brain floods with that dopamine. This cycle then reinforces itself all over again. You're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the anxiety relief cycle. A secure, stable partner doesn't trigger this roller coaster, so your brain misreads that calm as lack of chemistry. You think something's missing because you don't feel the spark. The secret nobody tells you is that true intimacy feels like peace. It's not a puzzle you're constantly trying to solve. When you meet someone, it feels easy. Your trained brain might whisper, "This is boring," but that's not boredom, that's safety. And your system just doesn't recognize it yet. So, all right, this third trigger actually runs really deep, especially if you are a high achiever. You've internalized a belief that love is not given freely. It has to be earned, just like everything else in your life. So you subconsciously apply this same work ethic to your relationships. It's hard not to do. You think, if I just do enough, give enough, prove my worth enough, then I'll finally get the love that I deserve. This usually starts in early childhood, where love felt conditional. You learned that your value was tied to what you could do for others. In adult relationships, this shows up as overgiving. You text back immediately. You plan everything. You're a 24/7 emotional support person. You're hyper aware of their needs while you completely ignore your own. You're hoping desperately that your effort will finally make you be noticed and it will be reciprocated. This is textbook anxious attachment style. You feel like you have to prove your own worth in order to avoid being abandoned. And a fixer-upper, they're the perfect match for this dynamic. Their needs are obvious and endless. They give you a clear role in a tangible way. You earn your place in their life. And you believe that by solving their problems, you're demonstrating value as a partner. But healthy love isn't a performance review. Real love is based on mutual respect and acceptance, not a transaction where you have to keep proving you're worth keeping. In a healthy relationship, you're valued for who you are, not what you do. You don't have to earn your partner's affection every single day. It's just there, consistently without conditions. I know that you know this deep down, but really, honestly, some of you are doing this on autopilot. So quick check-in. If this whole earning love thing is actually kind of hitting home, it's kind of making you uncomfortable, let me know in the comments, because you're not alone. I want you to know that so many of us have been there and are still there. This next trigger is the most counterintuitive, so stay with me. You consciously want a deep, committed relationship. You've probably said those exact words out loud. But why then do you keep choosing partners who are completely incapable of giving you one? The uncomfortable answer is that, believe it or not, on a subconscious level, you might be actually terrified of true emotional intimacy. And an unavailable partner is the perfect shield for you. A fear of intimacy isn't about not wanting love, it's about the fear of being fully seen. Flaws and all, and the rejection that could follow, you're not aware of it. When a genuinely available partner wants to get close, it can feel overwhelming. Their desire for connection triggers your impulse to run. Choosing a fixer-up is a brilliant form of self-sabotage. Their unavailability gives you a built-in excuse for why the relationship is not working. avoidant attachment style. You can pour all your energy into their issues, their commitment fears, their career drama, and conveniently this keeps you distracted from your own vulnerability. So yes, that's classic avoidant attachment style. The relationship comes about their inability to show up, which feels safer than a relationship where you both have to be fully present. But here's the twist. Even people who desperately crave closeness can be unavailable emotionally themselves. By obsessively analyzing the relationship and focusing on the other person, you stay in your head and you avoid being present in your heart. You're never going to find that love you truly desire. An unavailable partner lets you stay in that familiar loop, longing, chasing, and hoping without ever having to face the reality of actually getting the closeness that you want. Because if they were available, you'd have to show up too. And that is really, really scary. The final trigger operates like a behavioral addiction. You are addicted to the feeling of making progress. You're addicted to the fix. And when you're with a fixer-upper, the relationship provides an endless stream of problems to solve. And as a capable person, you're really good at solving them. Every time you give the perfect advice, help them update their resume, talk them down from a crisis, your brain again releases that dopamine, gets a hit of validation. It's intermittent reinforcement again. You feel so needed. The relationship as a whole might be unsatisfying, but those little moments of fixing feel like wins to you. You feel needed and effectively in control. This creates a powerful illusion of progress. You tell yourself things are tough, but we're getting somewhere. You mistake these tiny repairs for real relationship growth. But you're not building a partnership. You're stuck in a feedback loop where their dysfunction is the fuel and your fixing is reward. The distinction is this: helping occasionally is partnership. Needing to fix them constantly to feel valuable is addiction. This is what keeps you truly trapped. Leaving would mean giving up your role as the savior. It would mean losing that validation hit. And your brain is wired to avoid that loss. The real work isn't getting better at fixing them. It's breaking your own addiction to the fix. It means learning to find your own self-worth outside of your ability to rescue someone else. It's being willing to trade the fleeting high of solving their problems for the steady fulfillment of a partnership between two whole people. So let's bring all 5 triggers together. They're running on autopilot. So these 5 triggers are running on autopilot in your dating life. For years, you've been a renovator. You've poured your incredible energy into projects that were never meant to be your home. The solution isn't to become less caring or less capable. It's to redirect that energy back to yourself. It's time to audit your own love blueprint, to reinforce your boundaries. Learn that your worth is inherent. It's not something you earn through emotional labor. Stop looking for those diamonds in the rough to fix. Start looking for partners who've already done the work on themselves, who's laid the foundation. You deserve a relationship that feels like a sanctuary, not another project. A partnership that's an asset, not a liability. So when you stop being the renovator, you finally become the architect of your love life. And that's one that will actually support you. Now that we've identified the triggers that are stalling your progress, we need to look at how this fits into the larger system. Understanding the why is just the diagnostic phase. But to actually close the intelligence gap here, like an unpaid intern in your own love life, you need the next piece of the strategy. You don't need to be better. You just need a better system. And that system is exactly what we're continuing with right now. If you're ready to take this from a diagnostic to a full-scale architectural shift, then click right here and watch the next video. We're moving to the next level of the blueprint immediately. I'll see you there.